So in the previous section, we were talking about sleep. So in order to understand what sleep is, we need to know what being awake is. As you are aware, to be awake is to appreciate the world, to understand what is going on and respond suitably. So let us see what keeps us on our toes, what arouses us and what keeps us awake. So first and foremost, let's draw apart the brain, because to remain awake we need to be conscious. So, and that is somewhat enclosed within our mental capacity, and as far as we know, the brain is involved. So what are the structures in the brain that helps us to maintain this stage of arousal? Let us see some structures. So this is the corpus callosum, the cortex, the cerebral cortex, the cerebellum, the pons, the medulla, the brainstem, the midbrain, the thalamus, another structure known as the fornix. So these are the parts we need to draw. Now let us look at some of the nuclei which bring about awareness or arousal. First and foremost, in the brainstem we have a meshwork of neurons which is known as the reticular activating system, or the RAS, and this sends out stimulatory signal to various nuclei so as to keep us awake. So what are the nuclei involved? So one nuclei we like to talk about is pedunculopontine nuclei. The other nuclei we like to talk about is lateral dorsal tegmental nuclei, and they are seen to be in a group because both of them will be secreting the same neurotransmitter, which in this case is acetylcholine, and both of them are known as REM on wake on. REM on, wake on. So during the phase of awakening they are on, during the phase of REM they are on. The other group of nuclei I would like to talk about is locus ceruleus and Raphe nuclei. They are also kind of in a group, although their neurotransmitters are different. What do they do? They are obviously wake on and REM off. So during REM they are shut off. During REM these two nuclei are shut off. So 4 nuclei we have accounted for. Most importantly, another nuclei, tuberomammillary nuclei. What does it give off? It gives off stimulation to the thalamus. It stimulates the thalamus. It also stimulates the cortex. So you see we have group of nuclei which gives off stimulation directly to the thalamus and also to the cortex. So these will also do the same. They will go to the thalamus. They will also go to the cortex. Goes to the thalamus cortex and also goes to the thalamic area. We have another nuclei here, basal forebrain nuclei, which also gives neurotransmitter to the cortex. So neurotransmitter given by basal forebrain in acetylcholine, by tuberomammillary nuclei is histamine, by Raphe nuclei is serotonin, and locus coeruleus provides norepinephrine or noradrenaline. Now what does it do? Histamine stimulates the thalamus. Histamine stimulates also the cortex. The rest, serotonin, acetylcholine, noradrenaline, and histamine will all stimulate the cortex. The cortex being stimulated is aroused. This is the direct stimulation from this nuclei, one being stimulated by the reticular activating system. What does it do here? As we see, histamine directly stimulates the thalamus. Why the thalamus? Because it has been seen that the cortex, the cerebral cortex and the thalamus, they are constantly exciting each other. The corticothalamic fibers, thalamocortical fibers are mutually excitatory. They are constantly keeping a loop of excitement. Thereby, the person is awake and aroused, stimulated. Right? Now, most importantly, please note, all around the thalamus is a network of thalamic reticular network or thalamic reticular neuron. This thalamic reticular neuron is negative, it is inhibitory because it gives off GABA. It gives off GABA to the inside of the thalamus, and the thalamus is inhibited by its input. What the acetylcholine does is that it inhibits this reticular network, and thereby GABA is diminished. In the inhibitory signal from the pedunculopontine nuclei and lateral dorsal tegmental nuclei. This reticulum around the thalamus, which secretes a inhibitory neuron, is inhibited. Thereby, this inhibition is gone. Thereby, by inhibition of this inhibitory network, stimulation is maintained. Moreover, there is direct stimulation of the interneurons in the thalamic nuclei by paraphenuclear, locus ceruleus, and most importantly by the histamine released from the tuberomammillary nuclei. So the thalamus is activated and it facilitates the sensory input which comes from all over the body, the special senses, the peripheral senses, the temperature sensation, the pain sensation, the proprioceptive sensation, which is not conscious, of course, other sensory sensory stimuluses are facilitated. They are helped to be appreciated by the cortex, and the person is awake and aware of his surrounding. The person is stimulated. So this is basically how a person is kept awake. Moreover, there is the presence of another neuron, group of neuron, which is the group of neuron which secretes orexin. So it secretes the neurotransmitter orexin, and it is stimulatory to this group of neurons. It is stimulatory to this group of neuron. It is also stimulatory to the basal forebrain neuron. So, what is the function of orexin? Orexin is basically wake on. Orexin is basically wake on and REM on. Orexin is wake on, REM on. Just like this group of nuclei. The one thing about orexin is that it helps to stabilize or bring about a smooth transition from the first phase of sleep, which is non-REM sleep, to the second phase of sleep, which is the REM sleep. It is also known as the hormone which acts as a flip-flop switch. So, this orexin likes to keep the state as it is. If the person is in REM sleep, okay, fine, the orexin facilitates it. If the person is in NREM sleep, the orexin will facilitate it. This is what is known about orexin regarding this whole scheme of things. Now, this is the awake state. Now, regarding the change that is brought about in the first phase of sleep, which is the non-REM sleep or non-rapid eye movement sleep. What happens in non-REM sleep? The person is relaxed, the person gradually becomes drowsy, and then the movement of the person becomes less, the person is relaxed, heart rate decreases, the temperature may decrease, there is relatively less movement of the eyeball, and the EEG pattern becomes different from the desynchronized awake pattern. It becomes more synchronized, and the frequency decreases gradually till it becomes very low. And we also see during the evolution of sleep, sleep spindles and K waves. So please look it up in the books for further details. What happens during NREM sleep? During NREM sleep, there is release of GABA or a inhibitory neurotransmitter from a neuron which is known as the ventrolateral preoptic. So suppose it is located here, ventrolateral preoptic. What does it do? It gives off GABA. Remember, GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. Okay, so it gives off GABA. Where does it give off GABA? It gives off GABA to the nuclear group of nuclei secreting orexin. It gives off GABA to this nuclei, basal forebrain nuclei. Also, it inhibits the tuberomammillary nuclei, thereby stopping or decreasing the release of histamine. Now, what happens is that histamine release is gone by stopping basal forebrain. The cortex stimulated by acetylcholine is diminished. The histamine is also diminished. This also influences negatively the raphe nucleus and the locus coeruleus, thereby retinergic stimulation and serotonergic stimulation is also lost from both the thalamus and the cortex. Acetylcholine no longer negatively depresses or no longer inhibits the reticular neuron, which is all around the thalamus. This reticular neuron is now free from inhibition. It is kind of excited, so it depresses the thalamus. So depression of the thalamus brings about lower facilitation, or it stops the progression of sensory input into the cortex. Moreover, thalamocortical excitation is also lost, and the person is gradually detached from the external world, because the sensory input is not allowed through the thalamus, because thalamus is the gateway for sensory input. Moreover, cortical stimulation is also decreased. The person gradually falls asleep into non-REM sleep, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, which is the deepest non-REM sleep, and it is very difficult for a person to be aroused from their sleep. And then something happens when the person goes into REM sleep. What happens? In REM sleep, with the help of orexin, which changes over to REM sleep very gradually, the secretion of GABA is no longer from ventrolateral preoptic area, but the GABA secretion is from another area which is known as periaqueductal gray area. So it's from periaqueductal gray area around the ventricles. So GABA is being secreted from periaqueductal gray area, and GABA is only negatively influencing. GABA from this area, please note, is only negatively influencing the nuclei, which is raphe nuclei and locus coeruleus.